What's good with y'all, man? Thank you for tuning back in to AG Speaks. If you're back on the channel, if this is your first time, welcome for the first time. And on this video, I want to be talking to y'all about the truth about fear and why it's such an illusion and the truth behind what it can really be used for. Now, one thing about fear, people have a negative thought towards it. It's like a negative stigma to the word of fear, but everything is how you look at it. Fear is something that definitely can ruin you. It can ruin your life and your future because it'll hold you back in a lot of different ways. And fear will keep you from doing the things that'll take you to the next level. And it'll stop you from doing things to better yourself, better your life. And energetically and spiritually, it also holds you back as far as just like how you feel on the inside. So as far as fear goes, it's people that believe that fear is bad, fear is not good, fear is something that everybody should rid themselves of. But in all actuality, to be honest with you, fear is all how you look at it. There's no point in looking at fear like a bad thing because there will always be fearful times in life. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be times where it's a little bit of fear wrapped up in what's going on. Unless you're somebody who's just always balancing a frequency, balancing their energy. If you're living like a monk, then of course you probably won't feel too much fear of anything. But that's an extreme goal to want to hit. Like, you have to literally be in peace most of your day. And most people, we got different type of lives and we got different responsibilities and things that we have to do. So a lot of us aren't going to be able to just completely cut fear out because fear keeps us on track in a lot of cases. So, and I want to get into that. When I say fear, when I talk about fear being used for good, and I know that sounds crazy, but fear can be used for good. You could take that same fear you got and use it as motivation not to go back to where you once were. Like, for example, let's say that you used to be used to be in a really bad position. Like, you had a really bad situation going on in life, a situation in time that you could never forget because it was that bad, it was that traumatic that it put you through a low depression, and you finally built your way up out of that low depression, right? You should have a fear of going back down there. You should have a fear of going back down there. If you don't have a fear of going back down there, 9 out of 10, it's a good chance you'll probably end up going back down there. But if you use that fear you have of, because once you speak on things that you really went through in life, and if you reminisce hard enough about a bad time of your life, it'll bring back fearful moments. It'll put a little bit of fear within you. Now, there's different ways you can go about it. You could just look at it as a memory and not do nothing to execute in order to stay away from going back down there. Or you could take that fear, use it for something good, use it as motivation not to go back down to that situation. Use fear of not succeeding in order to work as hard as you need to work in order to succeed. Like, for me, I cannot speak today. For example, when it comes to things that I want to do in my life, visions I've had, manifestations I want to bring to life, just overall thoughts that I've had of myself in the future, one of my biggest fears is not bringing those things to life. One of my biggest fears is I'm waking up one day and I'm 70 years old looking back on life like, man, I didn't do anything I wanted to do. That's a really big fear of mine. That's a healthy fear to me. That's a fear that I feel like will help me actually do what I need to do to make my dreams and my goals happen. Because the last thing I want in life is to feel like I'm regretting things. I don't want to regret things in my life. I don't want to look back on life wishing and hoping. I'd rather look back on life like, man, that's crazy I did that. That's wild that I did that. Like, I really put my mind to it and I did it. Like, I want to look back on life and say that. I don't want to look back on life feeling like, oh, I wish I would have did this or I wish I would have did that. So I feel like fear can be used in a good way as well, man. Like, as for example, like, if you wanted to leave your hometown, that's a scary thing for a lot of people. You know, that's not an easy thing to do. But that'll help you grow because now you're not in an environment that's familiar. Now you're not in an environment that's comfortable. And the most uncomfortable situations can make you the most successful. It can make you the most happy and the most whole in the end. When you're not in your hometown, you meet new people. When you're not in your hometown, you can go to the grocery store and not have to worry about walking into nobody. You could truly be yourself. Like, you don't have to worry about that looking over your shoulder and running into this person. That you could really just be yourself and be somewhere else and just have a whole new fresh start. You know what I'm saying? And it's a scary thing to do, to move from your hometown, because this is where all the comfortability is, where you're from. So when you move, you walk away from all that. You walk away from the comfortable into the uncomfortable. And that fear could hold you back. That fear could either hold you back or it could Either that fear could hold you back, or you could look at it as an obstacle, as something to overcome in order to become a better person and to build up who you are on the inside and to become a stronger person in the end. You know what I'm saying? That same fear could be used for something good. Like when you in a whole nother hometown, and let's say you go through a hardship when you're not in your hometown. You go through a hardship out of town. Yeah, you're gonna be going through it. Yeah, you probably gonna be wishing you could have some family around. Yeah, you probably gonna wish you could have some friends around. But once you overcome whatever you're going through on your own, that far away from your family and friends, that you go through it on your own, it builds up a certain level of confidence in you. It builds up a certain level of strength in you, and it builds also a certain level of urgency within you because you're really just depending on yourself. You get what I'm saying? Like when you really just dependent on yourself and you ain't really got nobody around you to help you, that builds a certain level of urgency within you to make things happen quicker. And everything is a mindset. If you wake up in the morning feeling like you can't go through your day without 8 hours of sleep, every night you're gonna make sure you get 8 hours of sleep because that's in your mindset, that's in your belief system, that's in your heart. So you can't get up and do nothing until you got at least 8 hours of sleep. It's that person. Then you have another person who feel like, okay, as long as I get 4 hours, I'm good. So they getting more work done to you. They're waking up earlier, you know what I'm saying? They being more productive. And I'm not saying deprive yourself of sleep. Get all the sleep that you need. I'm not saying deprive yourself of sleep, but at the same time, what I'm saying is this. It's all about how you program yourself. It's all about how you think. If you think about something a certain way, that's the way it'll be projected into your life, and that'll become your reality. But understand, every way that you look at something is all dependent on the way you want to see it. If you feel like you need 8 hours of sleep, you're going to make sure you get 8 hours of sleep. If you don't get that 8 hours of sleep, your brain will tell you that you're tired. You'll tell yourself that you're tired. Even if you really didn't need the 8 hours, you'll tell yourself that you're tired because in your mind, you haven't made up that this is what you want your schedule to be. You need 8 hours of sleep. You tell yourself this. You could like the same way if you work a job and you work overnight. Eventually, you'll get used to working overnight. And even on your off nights, you will stay up all night as if you was still going to work because you already programmed to stay up all night. You're programmed to go to sleep and wake up at a certain time. However you program your brain, that's the way you're going to move. So if you're programming your brain to look at fear as a bad thing, every time fear comes around, you're going to feel fearful. If you program your brain to look at fear as a thing of motivation, every time you get fearful, you will do something productive in order to come up out of the fear, to overcome the fear. Because one thing about life is certain situations is going to stir up fear within you, but it's all about managing your emotions. They're called emotions with an S at the end for a reason. We don't call it emotion, which is just one emotion. We don't just say, oh yeah, I'm going through my emotion today, as if being happy is the only emotion. No, you have times of happiness, you have times of confusion, you have times of anger, you have times of fear, you have times of love, you have times of hate. Some people, I'm not a hateful person, but some people, you know what I'm saying? You got all different levels and energies and emotions that you go through in your life. And you have to learn how to manage them. You have to learn how to keep them at bay. Don't take any emotion and go too far off with it. Even being happy, don't get real happy and just think that, don't get too high on that feeling. Stay even keel because everything in life is highs and lows, man. When you going high, eventually it's gonna slope back down. Y'all ever seen the stock market? It's like that. Like you go up, then you go down, you go up, go down, go up. And then the line will be like this. It'll be up and down. And one day you're going to shoot up. Like the stock market. One day you're going to shoot up. And then one day you're going to crash back down. You know what I'm saying? You're going to start coming back down. It's the same exact thing. Life is like that. It's a roller coaster, man. And once you can realize that, okay, I'm going to go through bad times and good times, the bad times don't seem as bad because you already programmed your brain. You already programmed your brain to know that this is going to happen. So when it do happen, you're not taken by shock. You're not taken by surprise. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's life is going to be perfect. So just keep that in mind, man. So yeah, that's the thing I wanted to tell y'all about fear. You could use it for motivation. You could use it for your best interest. You don't have to let it use you. You could use fear. You feel me? So other than that, that's pretty much the main thing I had to say, man. If y'all have any questions or anything, y'all can comment down below. Let me know anything y'all want me to speak about. If you have any questions for me, if you just wanted to show love, you just wanted to talk, I appreciate everybody for watching this, man. You could have been watching any other video right now. You watching mine. So I appreciate y'all. Hope I could provide value to the people who may have needed it. motivation to anybody who may have needed it. I appreciate y'all so much, man. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. I'm out.